Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Melville Hall, also known as Douglas Charles International Airport on the island of Dominica. You join me here today in this stunningly beautiful livery. I can't get over how much I like this livery. Just that gorgeous teal color. Only marred by the fact that I left my flaps down at the end of my last flight. I've flown in and out of this airport a couple times, made some videos coming in and out of this airport. But strangely enough, I got to thinking yesterday, is there an airport in the Caribbean that I have not flown to? And guess what? The answer is yes, and we're going to resolve that issue today. So let's go rotating beacon on. Mixture rich, carb heat is cold, master and battery switch is on. There is no fuel pump. Let's make sure the fuel valve is open, and it is. Toes are on the brakes, even though we've got the parking brake set. Let's crack the throttle, have a quick look outside, make sure there's nobody outside to kill or maim. And engage the starter. Good start. Magneto's back to full throttle at 1200. Let's check our oil pressure. Oil pressure is looking good. Nav and strobe lights on. Lean the mixture for taxi. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in the Caribbean. It is hot out, and guess what? In the WBSim JPLogistics mod for the Cessna 152, which is what this is, you can open the windows, and God bless us for it. If you've never flown in a small airplane before in real life, it is literally like a what are those? Word is escaping my feeble mind right now. Like those garden, those indoor garden things where they grow plants. Yeah, you're probably gonna say this guy is not very smart, but they get extremely hot, and being able to open the window is a wonderful thing. Now I'm going to spend the rest of the flight trying to think of the word greenhouse. It's like being in a greenhouse. But we are able to open the windows in this airplane. This is a great mod. I understand that there was some collaboration on this, but I wish they'd shorten the name for marketing purposes. But really cool mod. And Dominica Melville Hall Airport.
Approaching runway 0927.
It's a really cool airport. This is one where they fly up the valley and then down the valley to land. Do a quick flight control check. Alright, to that side. First of all, why don't I put my flaps up? How's that for an idea? Which one should go up and which one should go down? The direction you turn the yoke should go up. So up on that side, down on that side, up on that side, down on that side. Next we check our flaps. Down and indicating, all the way down on that side, all the way down on that side, back up and indicating, all the way up on that side, all the way up on that side. And we'll check the elevator, and that's working properly. Now, okay, so now what we're going to do, mixture full rich, throttle to 1700 RPM. Make sure we got the toe brakes nice and tight. Alright, so left magneto, good drop, back to both. Right magneto, good drop within 50 RPM of one another, back to both. Carb heat, good drop, back off. Oil pressure, oil temperature, good. Throttle back to 1200. When you check the magnetos, by the way, the max drop you should get is 150 RPM, and they should be, the two drops, the right magneto and left magneto drop, should be within 50 RPM of one another. Otherwise, you're best to, in my opinion, to have a mechanic look at that. And throttle idle check, you just want to make sure the engine is running smoothly, and it is. A lot of people will tell you, hey, you just clear this, you probably got fouled plugs, and you clear the plugs if you've got a bad mag drop, which may well be true, but I don't know enough about engines to really do that comfortably by myself, and I don't have to fly, First of all, let's leave that mixture again. I don't have to fly. And so if I've got any sort of an anomaly, I'm going to have the mechanic check it out for me, rather than get out there and find out that I should have stopped. Alright, so I don't see anybody on ForeFlight. I don't see anybody on the runway. Melville Hall traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, back taxi runway 09er, full length for departure, Melville Hall. The only thing I don't like.
Runway 0927.
The only thing I don't like about ForeFlight is that voice really loves to start talking when I'm trying to do something. So when you're back taxiing a runway or taxiing on a runway for any reason, you want to be on center line with your landing light on, and the reason for that is, says the guy who's not on center line. The reason for that is, of course, you want to be seen. You want to be as conspicuous as possible if you're on a runway. These arrows back here indicate what? They indicate a displaced threshold. And what that means is you can you can take off on this section of the runway. You cannot land on it. And the reason is, usually there's some sort of obstruction at the approach end of the runway, like there is here, all these trees, which they want you landing down there instead of down here to give you more clearance. So let's close the windows. And I probably should have done that before. Let's go mixture rich, carb heats, cold flaps are set. Melville Hall traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, departing runway 9er. Left crosswind departure to the north, Melville Hall. So let's get on center line. Heading indicator checks with the runway number. What does that mean? This is runway 9er. So I want to make sure I see 9 on the heading indicator, 090 on the heading indicator. It tells me that I am on the correct runway. Alright, takeoff power coming in. Takeoff power is set. Oil pressure is in the green. Airspeed is alive. Crosswind physics are beautiful as always. Alright. 75 knots is what I'm looking for in the climb. And let's get out here and have a look at Melville Hall. Beautiful, beautiful airport. This is another beauty from SLH Sim Designs. I know I talk about them often. It's because I fly into and out of their airports with relative frequency. Melville Hall traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, left crosswind, runway 9er. We're departing to the north, climbing through 1,000 feet, Melville Hall. So now we can push the nose down just a little bit and put in some nose down trim. Some airflow into that engine. Some cruise climb. And I suppose at this point, see, they fly up here and turn and come down that. So it's really pretty wild to watch. Going to level off at 1500 within 50 feet of our cruise altitude. Push the nose over, pull the power back. In this plane, it's pretty easy because you can see the RPMs very easily. They're just right over there to the right. So pull that power back to 2400. Let's get some nose down trim in here. And so the airport that we're going to today is Marie-Galante Airport on the island of Marie-Galante. Makes some sense. And it's a little bit of a white lie to say that I haven't flown there yet, because I flew there twice yesterday trying to make this video, and for various reasons I decided not to use either of those videos. I have been on a quest for the last day or so. Well, I'll go back a little bit. So I tried this flight twice yesterday, and the first time I tried it was my first flight in this particular mod, and the flight went really well. I enjoyed myself. I don't ever plan what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes I fumble a bit, which some people don't like, and I've had negative comments on my YouTube channel because I can get a little bit random sometimes, I guess, and which is true. I'll take the criticism. But I had a good conversation with you guys yesterday. Enjoyed the flight and ballsed up the landing. And what happened was the approach was fine, but when I got into the flare, the airplane really ballooned. I mean, it's just very, very sensitive in pitch. And I don't know whether, I've never touched the sensitivity settings for any of the flight controls in the sim, which I tend to be that way. I tend to kind of not mess with things. And for the longest time, I did the same with the track IR, only to finally take, like, you know, an hour or whatever it was to get it set up properly and be able to do this, you know, really be able to look around and use it to its full potential. And I probably wasted 5 years at least before I finally did that. In this case, all I wasted was, well, 2 years, 3 years, before finally looking into the sensitivity controls, because I just want to be able to get the airplane down into a flare without having it balloon. And look, if you're gonna balloon, if you're going too fast, right? Like, the first thing to look at if you balloon a landing is airspeed. Or if you float and float and float and float and float, first thing to look at is airspeed. Because everybody, and I mean everybody, flies too fast. Everybody. It's just a thing. Everybody flies too fast in the pattern and approaches and landings. Everybody does it, except really good pilots. You know, if you know a pilot who can put his airplane on a dime every time, then that pilot is good at speed control. Marie-Galante traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, 10 miles to the south, inbound runway 9er, Marie-Galante. And so, but in this particular case, it was just really jittery, kind of. Like when I pulled back on the yoke, the nose just went rip, and then it just kind of did this as I was, you know, releasing pressure, adding back pressure, etc. And so it kind of got me down the wormhole of yoke sensitivity, and I've turned down my sensitivity settings in this with the alpha. The cool thing is actually is that the sensitivity settings that you set for your individual yoke profiles and rudder profiles or Bravo profiles or whatever, they actually follow the profiles. So in other words, if you've got like for me, this profile is single engine piston, and so I can set like, you know, negative 30% elevator throttle, elevator sensitivity for single engine piston, and then I have a twin jet profile, and I can set a minus 10%, let's say, sensitivity for that. And as I switch between the profiles, it'll keep the sensitivities, which is something they should do with the airplanes. Like your hardware profiles should match your airplanes. You shouldn't have to, like when you switch from a single engine airplane to a twin engine airplane, you shouldn't have to go into your controller settings and switch your profiles. They should match, right? But at least in the case of the sensitivity settings, they match the hardware profiles, which is pretty cool. So I've gotten this a little bit better. I've got currently the sensitivity is turned down 30% for pitch, for both pitch up and pitch down, 30% negative. And then there's one called what is it, max dead zone, or dead zone maximum, or whatever, where you can kind of cut out the extreme, basically like shortening the range of what the flight control movement will be. Like in other words, I've got it set now at the maximum dead zones, or extreme dead zones I think they're called, at negative 40%, I think. So I've taken 40% of the travel, or 40% of the effect of the travel of my elevator out of this particular control setup. And I know it doesn't make any sense what I'm talking about. Your first power reduction in the Cessna 152 is adding carb heat. That should drop you 100 RPM or so. And I am going to bring that power back to about 2200. Start a gradual descent here. And basically what I'm trying to achieve, like this kind of, you know, single engine piston airplane, I'm not going to be flying you know, any sort of wild and crazy maneuvering. You know, I generally just do what I'm doing here, which is, you know, cross-country type flights. So I don't really, not really terribly worried about how the yokes perform, or how the, you know, the sensitivity and stuff in cruise flight or descent or whatever. What I really want is I want to have good control of the airplane as I get into the flare, so I can make nice landings. And I'm not trying to make it any easier than it should be in real life. I'm just trying to make it realistic. So power to 2000. Let's get back into flap range here. Alright, put in that first notch of flaps, and another thing would probably be a decent idea. Just turn on my transponder. Not only is it a decent idea, it's also the law. Marie-Galante traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, mile and a half, right base, runway 9er, Marie-Galante. So, anyway, this is Marie-Galante. And this airport is kind of like, well, the island itself really is, they say like the Caribbean was 50 years ago. And I really actually wanted to go out here when we were in Guadeloupe, but I wasn't able to. So let's get ourselves trimmed for our airspeed here. And this is a, obviously a very small little airport. This one is also done by SLH Sim Designs.
1 mile final runway 09.
Marie-Galante traffic, Cessna 4753 X-ray, mile final runway 9er, Marie-Galante.
500.
And definitely got a right crosswind here. And it's a very simple little airport, but they did a really cool job of it. And talk a little bit more about the airport once we're on the ground. Airspeed is at 60. That's not bad. I don't mind being high in this particular case. Concerned about good airspeed, and we're in good shape as far as airspeed goes. So now we can start bringing out some power. And let's see here, power is out. And if I have ever made a better crosswind landing, I don't know what it was. That's awesome. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but that was pretty good. Carb heat off. It's the only adjustment, control change I want to make while I'm on the runway, because the reason you want to close your carb heat, Marie-Galante traffic, Cessna 53 X-ray, clear the runway, Marie-Galante. The only reason, so now we can come to a stop here, put our flaps up, lean our mixture, turn our landing light off, taxi light on, which I think is the same light, but anyway, the other thing we can do is, open our windows. The reason you want to close your carb heat, or turn your carb heat off, as soon as you can when you're on the ground, because carburetor heat brings in unfiltered air. In other words, if there's sand, which presumably there is, like sand and dust and dirt and whatever on the runway, when you turn the carb heat on, that is going to get ingested into your engine. I mean, it's unless it's like, breezy or whatever, it's probably not going to, unless it's windy and the stuff's getting blown around or whatever. But at the same time, when you got that carb heat open, you can get, unfiltered junk in your engine. You clearly don't want to do that. So, brakes are set, mixture to idle cut off, throttle is idle. Turn our lights off, mags off, master and battery switches off, set the parking brake, make sure the flaps are up, and look at that. I mean, how cool is this, right? I just think it's like, so I'm really jazzed about this airplane. I think they've done a wonderful job with it. It'd be even prettier if I was actually on centerline. You have to go to their Discord to get this plane, because they don't like FlightSim.to, which is unfortunate, but the livery pack that I got that includes this gorgeous teal green livery is on FlightSim.to, so help yourself, go there and get it. Let's now take a quick look at this airport. And here we are. Like I said, this is very simple. It's not, not the most complicated airport in the world by any means. But I paid a grand total of $6 for this airport, which I think is, I mean, come on, more than reasonable. You've got your fire station here. See if I can get this set properly here. Got your fire station. You got your parking lot out here. Take a step that way. And you ever notice fire department people love the fire department, Like we have volunteer fire departments here in the US in a lot of places. Like a lot of more remote areas. Boy, do these guys like fires. Or maybe not like fires, but they're really into being volunteer firemen, which I guess is cool. So you got the little airport here. Come out here, you got your tower, got your hangars down here, and you got some packing pallets, probably the word I'm looking for. Like I said, it's not the most complicated airport in the world, but it's really well done. I love the turnaround sections at the end. I love the really cool pavement markings. And yeah, $6 from SLH Sim Designs for a cool little airport that I can fly my really cool airplane into. And yeah, so this is definitely going to be a regular stop for me. I'm surprised I'd never flown in here, but it was a great flight, and I'm sure that this airport will provide its challenges when they've got crosswinds, So cool place to fly into. Awesome little airplane. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight, and we'll see you again soon.